All right, folks, we're just going to be waiting until Michael and some of the others do make their way into the stage. For those who have not seen the ground rules in the text channel, I am going to say them here. As long as we do keep things clean, you guys can ask one question at a time, and this will allow Mr. Michael Hädrich to answer those questions accordingly. And then once your question has been answered, then we can move on to the next one. So a few ground rules. As long as we do keep things clean and try not to scare off Comfy Glow or Michael Hädrich, then you should be fine. If I see that things do get a little too rowdy, then I will give a verbal warning so that you not so that we will not persist in that sort of because the idea here is we don't want to scare them off in any capacity. So this is one of those once in a lifetime events, and we're very excited to have Michael Hädrich join the event. But moreover, this is one of those things that took us some time to actually coordinate with the staff. So it's one of those things that we do humbly ask that we just keep things pretty much civil, so that no one so that no one feels left out, but also feel like they're a part of this event as well. Just pull this out so that I can actually see the chat a little better. See what's going on into the event, and hopefully we will get him to join the voice channel. Everybody is truly...
Is there a cooldown for the chat in here?
No, there is not a cooldown. Right now, things are just... I know that everybody is genuinely excited about the event, and let's see. I see we got a few staff members in here as well, so I'll be watching things as well. If I can't see it, some of my staff members will as well. Hopefully we can get him to join. I also did click, or rather, not click, but create a little link in the area that Michael and Comfy Glow can see, so that they can find their way into this area, and then we will make them speakers so that we can ask Michael any questions when he does make his way into the Discord community, or rather the stage channel. Goodness me, my notifications are blowing up, and as expected, this is a very excitable place when we do have an event like this. And for those of you who have joined, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're very glad to have you all here.
I'll change your profile picture.
What's that?
Change your profile picture, Kyle. Check the chat.
Oh, yeah. Please change your profile picture. It's nothing personal. Yeah, we just don't want to give off the wrong impression with our guests of honor. I sound rather deep this morning. Deeply voiced. That's usually my good morning voice. Or as I refer to it, my NPR voice, or my NDR voice? No, not NDR. We're not in Germany, so... Aha! Look who's here! All right, so he is inside of the text channel. I gotta look for that now. All right, so let me go ahead and message him. Excellent.
Hello, this is Michael from FEX. I'm glad to be here to answer your questions in the FEX Fan Club. Today I received some voicemails from my band colleagues from Kiel.
Hi,
well, what do you know? All right, this is awesome. So
hello, this is Ture.
This area.
I want to say hello to the FEX Fan Club from Kiel. Hi, folks.
And this is Michael from Munich. Hello.
Retro, you can definitely join. Make yourself a speaker. you do have the ability to do so with your permissions. Let's go ahead and see if we can guide him into the... Oh, there we go. It looks like he is in. Mr. Heddrich is here.
Yes, hello. Yeah.
Hello, Susamen. How are you
Yes,
doing today,
hello.
sir?
Mhm. Yes, hello. Yeah, don't call me Mr. Michael is fully okay.
No, not a problem, sir. We just try to do the formalities. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Michael Hädrich, Mr. DX7 himself, from the most mysterious band in the world, FEX. So if you do have any questions for Michael here, we are very glad to have any questions that you may have. You can type them here in the embedded channel that is in the stage, and we get straight away, sir. It is genuinely an honor and a privilege to have you be a part of our community and also answer any of the questions that the fans ask. So I will open with my question. How does it feel to have your oldest works, the works from the 80s, to be compiled on a debut album? How does that feel?
It's definitely very mixed feelings. It was very surprising that we learned after such a long time that such a search had been going on, and that so many people dedicated so much energy and time in finding us. And yeah, I was asked a lot of questions why we never actually realized that this was going on, how this was able to bypass us. And the reason is, of course, that the song name never was used right. So there were always different song names being used for the mysterious song. So it never surfaced us. Yes, and I think even if we had seen the activity going on without actually hearing the song, we wouldn't have concluded that this is related to us.
Absolutely. And I think that the real thanks goes to Mr. Darius S. for preserving subways of your mind, and just this journey has been absolutely amazing. So we do have a few questions that we want that we're going to go ahead and read. Aaron Scott Bottom reads, "Hey Michael, I'm really into synthesizers too and own a couple of them myself. One of them is a Korg Poly 800 and have wanted to know what your favorite synth is. I would also like to know if you recall using the Korg Poly 800 in any other songs other than Skyscraper for leads, pads, or sound effects."
No, actually, I used the Korg Poly 6 live and in the studio. So the Poly 800, I think this was a synth that Ture used at home to try out a few sounds. But of course, the synths that are used in FEX, they were Korg Poly 6, the DX7 Mark I, of course, and the Korg MS-20, which was like a semi-modular synth with patch cables, but it didn't have the modular build-up that now these analog synths have today. But it was quite challenging to change sounds during live performances on the MS-20 to repatch and redo all the settings without having a complete recall.
Oh, wow. So that is absolutely amazing. So someone did ask here, Joel DBA asks, apologies if this has been asked and answered a few times before, but would it be possible for some Fret and Mr. Fred songs to be digitized and released along with some of the FEX songs that have been surfaced thus far? And that is a very good question, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, of course. I mean, after being discovered in the search, we were digging up all our old tapes, and luckily I preserved a lot. Actually, what has happened, I think about maybe a month before Marine contacted me, I actually had a box of a few hundred old cassettes that I just threw away because I didn't need them anymore. Luckily, I preserved the songs that were related to FEX and to my other bands. Now with Mr. Fred, there's actually two sets of songs that we did. One was the American band that I had when I toured a year in clubs in Pennsylvania with my band Mr. Fred when I was studying in Pennsylvania. And then of course I had a Mr. Fred band before that where we played more original funky and disco music that we wrote ourselves. And then when I returned, Mr. Fred actually turned into the band Fred, that was spelled differently, P-H-R-E-T. And that was the successor then of Mr. Fred after that.
That is absolutely amazing. So next question is by Meows and Stuff. He asks, FEX's sound is hard to pin down because of how different a lot of the songs are from each other. How much of FEX's sound changed throughout the history of the band during the time you were present? A good example is Gold Rush having a more psychedelic feel versus the rest of the tracks. I would love to ask this question myself, if you're willing to bring me on stage, or if this is perfectly fine or not. So,
yes, I think the bandwidth that we had in FEX and the different styles, they actually came through the different phases that we went through ourselves, and we were trying to glue this together with all the different influences that we had from Norbert, with the very distinct bass style that he played, the experience that Tura had with songwriting and guitar playing, the experiments I did on the synthesizer, and the very lively rocky drumming that Hans did. So this came together, and actually when we practiced different songs, it just turned out to be that there were all these styles coming up, and we didn't want to shrink it together to something more narrow. We just thought, okay, let's leave it. It's fun to play these songs, and why not have a variety of styles in it? So this basically was our idea.
That is incredible. Absolutely. What would you say, and this is a personal question of mine, what would you say is your absolute favorite FEX song of all the ones that you and the rest of the band have found through your archive? Which one would you say is your absolute favorite?
Actually, I must say it's Skyscraper.
Oh,
Skyscraper has this intense power and mystic feel. So I would say Subways of Your Mind and Skyscraper, these are my favorite.
I absolutely love that. All right, so we're just going to answer some more questions from the community. This one's from Sapien, LOL. Hey, Michael, what did the full version of the most mysterious song of the internet mix of Subways of Your Mind sound like without the fade effect at the end? Do the voices fade out and the instrumental still continues? Do you recall that at all?
Yes, well, you see, we had different recordings. One was the practice room recording, which was actually the one that somehow made its way to the NDR and to Dario's recording from the NDR. And this was a recording to a 1/4-inch tape, directly everything played live. So as we are reconstructing this was in the Heikendorf practice room, with the mixing engineer being in the hallway trying to mix the stuff while all the band noise was bleeding from the practice room into the hallway. So it was a difficult mix that he had to do. And this is why this sounds so rough and so pure somehow. And of course, since the mixing engineer didn't want to risk the fade to do a wrong fade out at the end, we always did a fade out when we copied from this quarter-inch tape to cassettes. So
there was
this
no
is why
fade out.
every copy had a different fade out.
That is amazing. So there's been a lot of talk about whether or not this would be the demo version, and the one on the famous yellow cassette was the final product, the one that you shared with the world last November, because of how polished it sounds compared to the Darius recording or the NDR1 recording that became the start of this legendary search. Because I know that 40 years is a long time. It's a lifetime for a lot of people, especially when you look back fondly at your earliest works as a musician. And as a musician myself, I can relate to that. Okay, so we got some more questions here. Falcon asks, hello, Michael. Can you please confirm to the audience that the yellow demo tape is the studio version and the TMMS version is actually a demo? The yellow demo was recorded professionally, and people call it a demo, and the NDR one is done in Heikendorf practice room. So this kind of ties into what we were saying, that so a lot of people have been debating, is the yellow tape version the finalized version because of how polished it sounds and because of that legendary ending. Oh my God, it moved me the first time I heard that. So
yes, of course, and you see it's a longer version. We had more synth lines worked out by then. Yes, and of course the yellow label tape version is a multi-track recording. Yes, so we were for the first time in a professional studio recording everything individually, but of course at that time still without any computer or the sequences, everything was played live. And but the Heikendorf recording, the TMMS version, that was actually a live recording directly on the quarter-inch tape.
that is incredible. Lel asks, hi Michael, I'm wondering if the full live at Roxy recording will ever be released.
Yes, of course. It always sounds so easy to just release everything, but of course we need to have all the mastering and all the just the whole process of creating vinyl and so on with our label. Of course, we're doing two things in parallel now. We are recording new songs or re-recording old songs, so we're doing both with modern technology. This is what we're currently working on, and the Outer Edge label is focusing on remastering the old tracks. And it might very well be that also the live recording that I think has some very nice songs and a different feel played to it, I think it's also worth publishing, yes.
Oh, excellent. And yeah, I did want to ask as well, because you did cover on the new recordings, because a lot of us here have been following the band both on Instagram and on the Outer Edge. We've also got our subreddit r/FEX Fan Club. We've also got the r/The Most Mysterious Song, which I know that you have a presence in asking a lot of questions. So what is the trajectory, or when do you and the rest of the band plan on releasing the modern stuff? Because this is all very exciting, and I can't contain myself.
That's true. Yeah, we actually had to revise our plans a little when we found the original TMMS version. At that time, we were almost finished recording the new version of Subways of Your Mind, but we thought now with the re-release of the original TMMS version, we just didn't want to then do another fourth version, a modern version coming out, because there were now already three versions, the yellow label tape, the original TMMS version, and the live version. So we changed our plans to work on different songs, which hopefully we will complete in the near future, and then song by song release them until we have a full album. And of course, eventually the modern version of Subways of Your Mind will be in it, but it will not be the first release, because I think this would just be too close. And
no, I agree. The focus is to get the music out there and not be seen as a one-hit wonder. I know that your label, The Outer Edge, has made mentions of this, so I'm trying to get the word out there as best as I possibly can. And for those who are listening in as well, you too can also get the word out there, because the music is absolutely, truly amazing. A lot of people have connected. I, as a musician myself, I can say that this has been truly an inspiring experience for everybody here in this community to partake and hear, just hear everything from start to finish. The search and the music and what the music means to them. So having the 2024 or 2025 version of Subways of Your Mind being released at a later date would be a good strategy if the band wants to focus not only on getting their older content out, but also getting the new songs out, like maybe an updated version of Gold Rush or Heart in Danger, and anything that we have yet to hear from you all. So we got
exactly. We're also composing new songs, so it's not only that we're digging up the old songs. Of course, we are reworking doing rework on some of them, because we think quite a few are worth transporting them into modern times, but we're also composing new songs, so we are quite busy working on this. Mm-hmm.
So which other old songs are the band revisiting? Because I know that you guys, and I've heard the previews of this before the change of plans, the updated version of Subways of Your Mind. We know that that's going to be a thing eventually with Touré. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. There's a lot of debate on how his name is pronounced, so if I butcher it, I do apologize. But hearing him sing the song just brought tears to my eyes. So, Connor RK800 asks, what inspired FEX's songs? Did they get inspiration from someone like Depeche Mode, or was it independent or experimental? That is a very good question.
Yes. As I said before, there were so many influences that each of us had, and this melting together, I think, was the result that we see in FEX. My influences, of course, was the art rock bands at that time, yes, Genesis, and of course Depeche Mode later. I was always very much involved in complex, almost symphonic synth sounds, which of course at that time were difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had also had a side where we were playing with two guitars, so this was more a rocky side, more rock oriented with FEX, that we usually played at the end of concerts. And but also the influence from Norbert with the very elaborate bass playing. I think this made this melting pot of the FEX styles.
That is awesome. That is truly awesome. Yane Portal SYA asks, actually I may pronounce their name, so Yane Portal SYA asks, I have a question about the song Jenny. Is she is she a real person or a special someone?
Not that I recall. Tura had a fixed girlfriend at that time, so I think Jenny is a very fictitious person. It's just a song, a happy song, and I think the name Jenny just fitted perfectly to the song.
It is definitely a common name. It's when I first heard Jenny, I was like, this sounds vastly different from Subways of Your Mind, Gold Rush,
yes.
Skyscraper. Skyscraper is closer to Heart and Danger stylistically, but when you hear Jenny, it's like this sounds different. Like maybe they're experimenting on something. So that is definitely a good question. CHS731 asks, "Hey, Mom, got a question. Do you know why the version of Jenny on the Zeus Newcomer album is shorter than the one on the yellow tape?" Was that like a radio edit or
no? The editing actually is done by the mastering department of the Outer Edge. So it probably was something to fit the length of the album to make it shorter. That would be my explanation, but I would have to find out the details. I actually don't know it by heart.
That's fair. All right. So Inspector asks, "Hi, Michael. First of all, thank you for taking your time to do this interview for all of us. I have a question. Did your outlook of Subways of Your Mind and FEX change between now and after the discovery, and then between 1982 and 1985?
You mean outlook in terms of reaching people, or outlook in terms of how we perceive the song?
Outlook. I'm guessing my guess is outlook as a band. You know, what's your the song? Actually, Inspector asks the song, the outlook of the song between when it was first made and here now in present day 2025.
I mean, we always had high expectations in Subways of Your Mind. This was always a highlight during our show, and we thought this is a very catchy song, but still not like a Happy Go Merry song like Jenny. So we thought this is resembles the textile pretty well. But I mean, FEX got as far as being a local phenomena at that time, and now being a global phenomena. That's of course for us absolutely a different perception. It's fantastic for us to realize that so many people are listening to the song and enjoying it.
Excellent. So Ear Kuhnen HG asks, "May I ask this personally on the stage to Michael?" Okay, we can go ahead and get you here on the stage here. One of our staff members will gladly do that here, so that, you know, just raise your hand and we'll definitely add you here into the stage channel. I'm not very good at adding folks into the stage. Let me just go ahead and do that here. All right, there he is. Welcome to the stage.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, it's an honor to be here, to be speaking to the guy that is responsible for my favorite song I've ever heard. So thank you, Michael. And this is coming from someone who's in the same city as you. I'm also from Munich, so it's an honor to meet you here. Yeah, I think this has been answered already, so I'm just going to ask the other question that I had. Are there video recordings from the Roxy Paderborn?
No. At that time, video equipment was extremely expensive. So there was nothing like the digital recorders or even analog camcorders were very expensive. So except for photos that were done on the Bruchhausen Festival, we had very few media that was taken from us. So, but absolutely no videos, no.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. I'm only allowed to ask one question, right, Bard?
You can ask another question.
Okay.
I'm just saying one question at a time so that we won't overwhelm Mr. Hädrich, since we want to be able to get all these questions asked, and I know that I'm reading a lot of questions, so if anybody else does want to ask a question, you certainly go ahead. Yeah, feel free to ask your second question.
Are there plans to collaborate with other artists?
Yes, we actually had some requests with other artists, but it has not been finalized, and it's of course, due to the negotiations, not possible at this time to disclose this.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. And NDAs do exist, so we gotta respect that. All right, so let's see. Another question here.
I would like to ask my final question, and I'll go back to the audience.
Go for it. Go
Have
for
you-
it.
Michael, have you heard of other lost songs, such as Subways of Your Mind?
I have been following, of course, only after the discovery that there have been searches for other songs, of course, not so long. So I've been monitoring the scene a little bit, but this way has only been recently, and as I said, we have been also very busy. So it is only some monitoring on the side that I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can
the
you
focus
recall
is
any?
mostly on the music.
No, at the moment I can't recall, no.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Michael.
Mhm.
All right. So this next question is, let me pull that up because my chat is going absolutely wild here. Let me just go ahead and scroll down. And this is also due to bad eyesight as well. So the next question is from My Eyes Are Kilimanjaro, and they ask, "Hi Michael, massive FEX fan. Woke up at 3 a.m. in Australia to ask these questions. Number one, how did you meet Ture Rukwart? And how did Fret evolve into FEX? I'm not too informed on these early years." We'll ask the first question, and then we'll ask the other. No, we'll get to the next questions at a time. So,
Okay, the first question, how I met Ture. Yes, actually, we went to the same school. I met him, and he even played a concert at the school when I just had a very small amateur band at that time. So Ture had already a band that could perform. But then the music scene in Kiel was quite active, but not so big that you would lose sight of each other. So we were always somehow musician colleagues, and we played in many different formations together. Now, the second question, Fred did not evolve into FEX. Fred was a different project, was a different band that I did that was totally side by side to FEX. So this did not evolve into each other. These were different musicians.
that is awesome. Next question that My Eyes Are Kilimanjaro asks, "I heard Ilona Rukwart sung in the early years. What was her singing like, and what songs did she sing on?"
Yes, in fact, it was only very few songs where she sang background. We had more experimental phases prior to FEX, where Ilona was singing in, and this actually was much more experimental and much more even with a wider range of different styles. So as I recall, there was only very few songs in FEX where Ilona sang a background. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That is incredible. And the last question that they ask is, what did you do after FEX, but before Silk Vision around 1987 on to the 2000s?
Yes, I moved to Munich, and I played as a studio musician in quite famous studios. Earned my living with writing music for commercials, so like Bailey's Irish Cream or the MB games and so on. These were commercials that I wrote, and I wrote some film music. And then later I started to do my own projects. In between, I had some bands with Echo Di Lorenzo playing in a band with him, and of course a band called Slicks, where we released a small single. But then, of course, my project where I put all my efforts in composing recording, playing all the instruments, and even producing the videos with my fantastic saxophone player Celia Sen. This was like my project where I could realize my own ideas.
Excellent. Martinko Ja asks, Michael, will there ever be a remaster of the Heikendorf version of Subways of Your Mind? He was referring to the one that Jörg Lemke released prior to the arrangements that you and the band had about any of his... So he's talking about the Heikendorf's rehearsal. I'm sorry for stammering on that one. So there's a lot of folks who made remastered versions of it, despite how rough it sounds. That's why he wanted to know.
Yes, I think, I don't know that, I need to listen again to this tape. I think this was a very rough recording, and we thought that the quarter-inch tape, which was a much better quality, was worth remastering. And
Right.
So I think this actually is the original song that we intended to remaster then.
I will send you the recording that was uploaded by a private message so that you can have a listen to that. We'll get back to that here in a little bit here. Meowsen Stuff asks, was Hans Reimer Siever's performance for the Subways of Your Mind 2025 re-recording completed before his departure from the band earlier this year?
No, it was, we started to record it, but we actually never completed it because we were running out of time, and Hans actually had difficulties managing his time with FEX, so it never was completed, actually.
I understand that. So that brings another question, since I know that you and the band are making new content and you're also revisiting some of the older stuff. As far as the drumming goes, are you guys using a drum machine? How is this being approached? Because a lot of people are, wanting to know exactly how how this is all being produced, since Hans has inevitably stepped down from the band.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question, of course, and it is very difficult. The thing is that the three of us are working quite productively right now, and since we have quite wide experience in musical arrangements and also the drumming, we actually play the drums through pads or through keyboard keys, sometimes even live into it, and construct drum patterns, so that we think this at the moment is the best way to combine our musical arrangement ideas with the drumming that we want to have.
Ah, okay. Yeah, we got a couple of fresh joins coming in as well. She asks, hello, Michael. I've noticed FEX followed Christopher St. Booth on Instagram. Will you guys ever collaborate with him? I guess this may also go and cover the initial question about collaborating with other artists.
Yeah, I'm sorry. At the moment, we can't say anything about this. So this is in the making. So yeah.
You gotta respect those NDAs, folks. If there's a non-disclosure agreement until the band says otherwise, then you can certainly, just respect. We can certainly expect to have the. Oh goodness me! We'll know about it eventually. So yes, that would make sense. So I mean, if there ever is, and I'm not saying that this is, I'm not trying to get anybody's hopes high, but a FEX / Who's Who collaboration would be something that most people would definitely be looking for. But again, just to touch base on that, if there's any questions about collaborations, just remember that we have to respect the NDAs until until we get confirmation from the band, because a lot can change in such a short amount of time. We want to make absolutely positively certain that we're not going to be sharing too much information until it's in the palm of the band's hands. So we're going to get some next questions here. Right, so let me pull this up here. Kyle Ray Har asks, in the Roxy Paderborn, why did Chur sing the old lyrics when this was after the yellow tape was made? Was this because he forgot? Or, I mean, I know that, with human error, there are mistakes, especially in performing live, and the show having to go on. So,
this is hard for me to answer. It could be that it was just something he's used to sing. So,
right.
But I think I saw in the chat there was a question if someone asked if he was drunk or not. We actually did not drink during our performances because we wanted to deliver the best playing that we could, and we actually had to manage quite a lot on stage with the four of us delivering the sound and doing this for the entire show. So this was definitely not the cause, because we did not drink during the show, that Tui might have mixed up the lyrics.
Right. No, that's completely understandable. Zombie X asks, hello, Michael. How was Skyscraper recorded? Was it played live in the practice room, similar to the TMMS version of Subways of Your Mind, or was it recorded professionally in a studio?
It definitely was not recorded professionally in a studio, but I doubt that it was the same recording event where we recorded Subways of Your Mind. I think we had several recording sessions with our mixing engineer Hase, and it's hard to say under which, or reconstruct under which condition it was recorded, but I'm quite certain that it was a demo room or rehearsal room recording.
Absolutely. All right, so to add to this, why were the old lyrics used? Okay, so that we'll move on to the next question. Nick asks, actually, let me move down to the here because we got a whole bunch of things. The chat is going absolutely wild. This is probably, and I will admit this to you, sir. This is probably the first in 2 weeks that the server has been this active with the formal announcement that the Outer Edge has made on the release of Skyscraper, the More Waves from the Past, and more notably a CD version of the album and the famous yellow cassette. I went ahead and pre-ordered my bundle version of that, and I really cannot wait to hear what you and the rest of the band have. So Steverman asks, hey Michael, so we asked Hans this, so I thought it would be fitting if we asked this as well. Ever heard of myhouse.wad? It was a popular internet thing that featured TMMS, and it helped make the search popular again. It also gave the tagline, happiness has to be fought for, that's commonly paired with Subways of Your Mind. You should check it out. It's really cool. So, are you aware of that, sir?
Oh, I'm not aware of this at all, but I will definitely look into this. So this is house.what?
House.wad. That's HOUSE.WAD. So he's okay. So yeah, this is a mod to the game Doom. It's that first-person shooter that came out in the early '90s, late '80s. So a lot of questions.
Bart, it's sorry to interrupt. It's myhouse.wad.
My house.
I see it in the chat. Yes, and
in the chat. Thank you.
At that time, this definitely has bypassed us if it was in the 90s. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this was an old first-person shooter, and oh my goodness, yes. And Retro says FEX brought back to life to music for me at least. So Kyle Ray Har asks, is the new version of Subways of Your Mind coming out later this year? Is it going to sound like the TMMS version of the song, or the yellow tape more? I know that you said it was not completed, and I'm curious about this as well.
Yes, what of course we are not trying to do is recreate exactly the old song. So like to play it with the feeling that we have today and with the modern technology that we have today. The DX7 Mark II that I still have will, of course, be in it, but we will be trying out a few more things. So we want to add something to the song.
Excellent, excellent. I'm looking forward to hearing that when it drops later this year, along with anything else that the band is planning on doing, especially the new songs. I'm not saying like the stuff that you did 40 years ago, but the stuff that you're focusing on in the here and now, since most of the better lot songs are going to be featured on the debut album. I can't even begin to imagine just how exciting it is for you and the rest of the band to have your songs featured on a full-length album. So that is definitely... Let me go ahead and see what other questions we have here. Maxine asks, editing this because I didn't know it was appropriate to ask on stage, so if it's okay, I'd like to ask Michael this personally. If not, that's okay too. Hi, Michael. I'm sorry if this has been asked already. Everything's a little chaotic. Are there any other FEX songs or other versions of other songs that have a similar style feel to the NDR version of Subways of Your Mind? Also, you and FEX are awesome. I'm loving Skyscraper. So that is an added note. So I guess the question here is, are there other versions of some of the other songs? Do they have the similar feel as the rehearsal version of Subways?
Yes, I think when I listened to the Roxy recordings that we did, there's this whole spectrum from the mystic songs to the more feel-good songs. So, I would have to look up there some ballads that might have this feel. It is always different perception when you play a song than how the audience perceives the song. Yes, right. So that's it's always difficult to project. But I think we have the whole spectrum, let's say, between Subways and Jenny.
Excellent. That is excellent. Falcon asks another question. Do you have any idea who played bass guitar on the TMMS version / NDR version of Subways of Your Mind? Do you have any recollection of who may have been playing bass on that?
That's really difficult to say. It's hard to reconstruct this. At the moment, it is unclear.
All right, that is definitely fair enough. Let me see. We got a few other questions here. Clay asks, this is probably a silly question, but Michael, how did you and the rest of the band initially get inspiration for your tracks? I always find it so hard to start writing songs, especially lyrical ones, so I'm curious as to how you all approach your process. That is a really good question.
Yeah, it is. And I must say it's actually the very opposite. There's so much contribution from each of us, and there's so much being thrown in the ring. Let's work on this, that it's more a matter of which songs do we want to focus on, and which one do we want to do first, than not having material to be composed. Ture is extremely productive in writing songs. I'm currently writing a lot of songs, so it is more focusing on the ones that we think are the best choice to do first, rather than being stressed to compose something.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's absolutely amazing. Man, I'm so excited about this. As you probably already can tell. So Backyard also asks, if there's time, I have a question. What was the meaning behind the change in the lyrics between the NDR version of Subways of Your Mind and the Yellow Tape version? And I'm thinking he means the lyrical change of there's no sense communication and what we needs communication. Was that because of translation or how it flowed? Or was it because... Actually, yes. Yes, question. Sorry for stammering there.
Well, first of all, we wrote the lyrics, or Ture wrote the lyrics for this specific song from the start in English. So there's no translation process. I think it would be very hard to write a song first in German and translate it to get the same rhythmic feel in the lyrics. I think the reason why he changed it to the more positive expression. Yes, what we need is to give a little push to something positive. That might be his motivation, but I'm only guessing. It was his choice. Mm-hmm.
A lot of us didn't know because of the early recordings when the search was still going on. A lot of people thought there's no sense for communication. Communication, albeit chopped up, or there's no scent communication. And that's what I did on my cover version of the song. And I would love to show that to you in private, of course. I've got a high quality recording of it that I recorded here in my personal studio. And then hearing the official lyrics that were written on the postcard version, the postcard along with the single that recently was released. That's actually a very good question. Sapien LOL asks, "Hey Michael, I'm Sapien. I'm just asking something. What did the full version of TMMS mix of Subways of Your Mind sound like without the fade effect at the end?" I think we did ask this one before, so we'll go ahead and... So you did say that there was a fade into it initially in the recording of the song, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next one.
It was the other way around. There was no fade, and each copy had to do a manual fade. So this was what made it so difficult. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. And it's kind of interesting that each copy of the rehearsal had its own fade out, because there was debate of the one that found its way into NDR radio having a slightly different fade out, as opposed to the one that you and your daughter found in your personal studio some 4 months ago, almost 5 months ago. Wow, just been absolutely amazing journey. And I've been following this off and on, and then when the song got solved last November and then learning about the band, that's when I was completely invested. I also do want to say that I actually bought both the yellow tape version of Subways and then the TMMS version. I've got copies of those in my personal studio, and Well, yes, absolutely. Your music has changed my life.
Thank
Arsons, you're very welcome, sir. I don't say this all too often to someone as prolific in the community, but I'm looking into getting myself a modern-sounding electroacoustic guitar and making music again, because I've made music off and on, but hearing this just gives me so much hope for my own content. And I'm saying this as one musician to another. This is more than a privilege. It's truly an honor to have you grace our community and answer the community's questions about everything and anything that is in regards to the band, the music. I'm looking forward to everything that you all produce. Arson Scott Bottom asks, "Hey Michael, I don't expect to be answered another question, but it sounds like drum machines were used in some FEX songs. If you can recall, what drum machines were used in these songs?"
No, actually I can't, because I really would have to go back and chat about this to have a collective recall of what we did with the band. I know that I had a drum machine from a small Berlin company that was almost like a lunchbox design. But honestly, I don't recall if we ever used this drum machine or if we used one of Ture's drum machines. I think most of the songs were done with Ture's drum machine, but I actually would have to go through with the band to see how we collectively can recall what brand we used.
That's fair. That is definitely fair. We're going to go ahead.
Over 40 years ago.
Yes, I mean, a lot. I mean, a lot has happened. I mean, that is definitely a lifetime, and I can safely say that I have lived 40 of those years. 40 of that. But to remember something that happened such a long time ago could be misremembered. I know that when We Don't Want It No More surfaced, Hans mistook it for artificial intelligence until you confirmed that it was in fact a FEX song. I'm sad that there's no studio version of it, because that is quite an underrated song. And hopefully, one can hope if this is one that you plan on. I guess the question is here, are you revisiting that one or no?
We definitely have plans for it. If it will be in the first ones or later ones, that's hard to say, but this also caught our attention when we revisited the live recordings.
Got it. That's awesome, and we're definitely excited here. I know that some are hoping that you stay in the community, in the Discord community, because we just love having these types of instances, and this is what makes, for me personally, and I'm pretty certain I can say this for everyone who's in the community and even in this event. That's what makes this truly an exciting place. It looks like we've got another question from from Hen HD. If one of the staff members can put him into the stage as a speaker, because I'm having trouble with that myself. Let me see. Invite to speak. Do that one more time, and then we'll do that here. There we go.
Hello.
Did you have another question?
I do. My question is, will FEX do anything against copyright trolls, meaning people that claim they made Subways of Your Mind themselves before FEX was actually discovered to be the band behind the song?
Yes, of course, what we always try to avoid is making hard legal steps. Yes, so we always want to solve all these things on good terms. So to contact these people and to do the correction if there is actually a claim in the copyrights that is an illegal claim. But our first step is always to do this on a direct communication on good terms. Only if this fails, of course, we need to bring these songs into our copyright legal position, because we also want to have control what these songs are being used for. Yes, so maybe the song is being used for something that we don't like, and this you can only do if you actually have the correct copyright claims. But as I said, we will first contacting the people and try to resolve this on a personal and a non-legal matter.
That's fair. That would be a fair thing to approach, because there's one, I won't name names, but there's one who claims that it's their song, even though we clearly know that it's not theirs at all to begin with. And I don't condone it at all, especially if it for me personally, if it dishonors an artist and they're trying to steal credit, then where credit is due, that's not okay. Because a thing to consider, and I'm going to add to this, is the amount of time, work, and effort it takes to make music. And I'm saying this from a musical perspective, to entertain people in the community, or people who come across a song and actually like hearing the music. It's when someone takes it and claims it as their own without crediting the original artist, that is a huge disservice to the artist who
plus the fact that these people must know they did not write it.
Exactly.
Yes? So this, I think, it actually takes some some steps to claim something that you know by heart is not your original composition.
Right. So I have to ask, because I did a cover version of it, and I posted it on my YouTube channel, and I even remixed it. The remixed version is in my hard drive.
Muted.
Would you be okay if I released it? I mean, release it publicly on YouTube. Of course, I'll be crediting the band for such an incredible song. I would love to show that to you a little bit later. I'll just plug that in. I mean, would you be okay with that?
Yes.
Excellent.
You see, if it is credited, if it has not, if you, then of course it is always possible to do a cover song when crediting the artists.
Absolutely. Let's just go ahead and looks like my note.
One more question.
Go ahead.
Do you have? Does FEX and Fred have songs that are in German?
Fred had songs that are in German. FEX was always English, yes.
Okay.
Here, there's one question that came from KAZ. What was your first synth? This is something I would like to answer, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So my first synth, the thing was, I started switching from guitar, which is my first instrument, to keyboards before synths actually came out. So I had quite a cheap organ that I modified, an electrical organ. Then I had an electric piano, and so things were added more and more until I had my first synth, which was the ARP, monophonic synth, which had these strange sliders where you could generate your sounds. And this was my first exposure to generating experimental sounds other than modifying existing stock equipment.
Muted.
And then things were added more and more. I had the D6 clavinet, and then until I finally got the polyphonic synths like Poly 6, Jupiter 4, DX7, and the monophonic synth MS-20, as I said. So this was pretty much the sequence of how I went into the synth era.
Excellent. It looks like we've got another question from Hen HD. I'm
Unmuted.
gonna try not to butcher that name. So, Pancake. All right, Pancake.
Yeah, you can call me Pancake. I have kind of a silly question. Have you seen any memes that were made about FEX and the songs around them on the subreddit or on anywhere else?
Or here on the Discord. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there were some really funny videos.
Yeah,
That's
that is the
that's
thing I wanted to talk about.
That's from the NDR. What Tu is doing, he said, the cassette is even glowing in the dark. I think that's what he said.
And the community has nicknamed it the FEX Hex.
Hans is called Dr. X. Oh, is it Dr. X FEX? So we get a lot of these things. A lot of them are quite wholesome. Windori had a question he wanted to ask in the stage. I'm not certain if he's here or not. Let me pull him in. Okay, let me just go ahead and invite him to speak. Let me just do that. Bear with me here. We'll go ahead and add him in since he's a staff member. Go ahead.
Hello. Hi, Michael. First off, one moment. First off, it's an honor to speak with you. Thank you very much for joining us here. I'm honestly a bit shaky with excitement just having this opportunity to ask. So, my question is, what first inspired you to start making music? Like, was there a particular moment, experience, or something else that inspired you to start creating?
Honestly, it was always the excitement of creating sounds. And I remember the first sound I created before I actually had a musical instrument was a spring that I had on my desk lamp, and when I stroked the spring that was holding the lamp in different positions, it made a fantastic sound, very, very strange. So I had a small microphone, cut the wire and soldered it to a small transistor radio to have it fully overdriven, and then put this sound into the microphone, striking the spring. It was a terrible distorted sound, but this I think was my first experience or experiments that I did with creating sounds. And then when I first had bought my guitar, all the first amps that I had, I fully manufactured myself. I actually soldered the transistors on a cardboard and had my first small amps done in homework before I could even afford to buy professional amplifiers.
That's very interesting. Thank you for the answer. So you have some experience in electrical engineering, I take it?
Oh yes, I'm a theoretical physicist and software engineer, so I don't have any problems with technology.
That's very interesting. Thank you.
All right. Yes, we got it. And you are welcome to stay in the stage when he left the stage. He's welcome to stay because he is a staff member, so you can come up here. And if you did want to ask any other questions, you are more than welcome to. So I'll put you back up here since you're back here in the staff. So we got moderators here. Our moderators, I know that, yeah, so stay here. And all right, so let me see if we've got any other questions here in the...
I do have a quick question.
Go for it.
Hey, hi, Michael. You can call me Neon. You can call me Clint, whatever you would like to call me. My question is about the new version. I am very, very curious if in the 2025 version of Subways of Your Mind, are you guys going to do a fade out, or are you going to do one that's kind of similar to the TMMS version, but add the awesome instrumental that is present on the Yellow Rebel version?
That actually hasn't been decided yet. We experimented both with endings without fade out and with fade out, so this is still in flux. And as I said, we discontinued to work on the song, although it is very close to being finished, because we wanted to bring, after these different versions of the TMMS song out, we're doing different songs, releasing different songs first. But it's a good question, and we are still undecided with the ending of the TMMS version. We are also undecided with the beginning. So there's quite some still brainstorming that we're doing on it.
I have another question, since to add to that, because I follow you on Instagram. And you mentioned about how you and the band were going to work on some tracks, but then you got that one note that changed the plan for the day. Was that for a new song, or was this for an oldie but goodie?
That actually was for a new song.
Ah! Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's strange. Sometimes, especially with I mean, it was just a fun fact, but we were so in focus recording tracks, and we played it all in, and everything was going really well, doing things in one or two takes on the recording. But then we spent on this one note so much time. Hey, let's do it this way or let's do it that way, because it was the first note of the chorus, and so this is why it seemed so important to us. I think in the end, it probably doesn't make such a big difference as the effort we spent on this one note, but it was fun. I mean, this is a collaboration of the musicians, and it was a lot of fun that we had.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. I thought it was kind of funny because you're like, hey, yeah, we're trying to figure out this, and then this kind of ties into another thing that you posted some time back about FEX mobile equipment and recording just every little bit, before it's lost. Whether it's an old revisiting or something that is brand new that we as the community have yet to hear. I mean, I'm looking forward to all of it. Arson Scott Bottom asks again, if you don't mind, that I ask another question. When working in the studio now, do you use virtual synths or do you still use hardware synthesizers?
That's a very good question. I'm always drawn in between working simultaneously on different songs, and for this reason needing to have total recall. And total recall, of course, is the best working in the box. But of course, I still have a 48-channel inline mixing desk, and I still have a lot of hardware synths and even rack synthesizers. And if I need a specific sound, like the DX7 sounds or some specific sounds from these synths, where I have old and modern synths, then I record them actually as wave tracks, so playing them in live.
Right.
So I do have still total recall on those, although I can't change it anymore except for replaying it. But if there are tracks where I doubt that this will be the final version or the final sound, then I actually use virtual synths, or sometimes even MIDI synths. But the thing is that all your patching on the mixing desk needs to be the same for total recall. So the tendency always usually goes to virtual synths until a song is finished. Then maybe some will be replaced by hardware synthesizers. So I do have the option, but the workflow has a tendency to virtual synths. That's true.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that is oh my gosh.
Yeah, then maybe two more questions, and then we can wrap up.
Absolutely. We will definitely have that. We'll definitely ask a couple more questions here. If any in the staff want to ask, or if anybody in the audience wants to ask, you certainly can before we do wrap things up, since I know that you're a very busy man. And thank you once again, sir, for taking this time taking this time out of your busy schedule to meet with us and, just answer a lot of questions here. So I think we may have another question here.
I believe Tech House has his question left, and I also have one as well.
Go ahead, Retro.
Oh, so hello, Michael. It's really nice meeting you, by the way. I love y'all's music. It definitely, for me, discovering FEX, like even when the song was unknown, it definitely helped bring life back to music and bring me back into discovering more music and listening to a lot of it. But sorry for rambling. I noticed back before y'all played Subways of Your Mind on NDR back in January, y'all would post a lot of the songs on your YouTube. Is there a chance that we could see more of that, or if we might in the future, or if there could be uploads of the unremastered versions of songs?
Yes, so we are working with our Outer Edge label on also working and remastering more of the unknown songs. Yes, in the album that is coming up, we already have some of these in it, and we are planning to do more of it. And the more we dig into our old tape box, the more we find. And of course, this takes some time to see which ones technically can be remastered. So it is an active process that we're doing on this, and there will be more older songs remastered coming up.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Let me just go ahead and see that here. We'll go ahead and ask a few more questions before we wrap things up, and then close it off with a shameless BlindBard cover of the song, because I do want to show that with to Michael as well here at the end. So we got a few other questions here. So Techno Manual says, I won't be able to talk for a bit, but can you ask Michael that? I would love to ask this question verbally. Does he have the modulators track for Kuss die Katze? It is nowhere to be on the internet. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, Kuss die Katze. Yeah, that's a track that we did with the modulators. It was a very funny track. Kiss the cat, you poor dog. That's how the lyrics go.
Oh wow!
And yes, and it was in these times when the music, new wave music, was combined with somehow humoristic or more satire style. So this was a very experimental phase.
Oh wow! So yeah, let's see. Let's see if we've got any other questions. Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm sitting here in my personal studio, and there's a massive part of me that's in disbelief that I'm chatting, that I am talking with the man behind Subways of Your Mind, Mr. DX7. I'm just in complete awe, and I know that the entire community is and in awe as well. Let me see. There was another one. So the track is not available to listen to on the internet. So yes, Techno Manual was asking about Kuss die Katze. This is honestly all right. So Kyle Ray Harath.
A good thing to finalize the questions would be from Kyle Ray Har. How did you come up with the end synth of Subways of Your Mind yellow label tape? Since this was also, actually I must say, a Christmas present that I got, where all the different spectrums from the different tapes of the DX7 were printed on on a poster that's hanging in my studio now.
Awesome.
And so the end of Subways, the thing is, the fact that the DX7 in octaves stays a very long time on the same common note between the chords of E minor, C major, and A major, which is a gender change in the key, suddenly changes walking up with the chord changes of going to E minor, B minor, C, and D. And so the DX7 then was using the common keys of those chords walking up until finally using this feedback sounds when staying long, no longer doing the percussive voicing, but staying long on these notes and having this feedback sounds that usually only guitars have. So I think this made it raise the impact or the intensity at the fade out of the song.
Now I did send you a lossless copy of my version of the song. I send that to you as a gift.
Fantastic.
Yes, and it's my gift to you. I may be revising it lyrically since I heard scent and not sense. Since I'm going with the TMMS edit of the song, I remixed it just weeks when we were still arranging it with Comfy Glow. Have you to come into the community and answer any questions that you may have. We do hope that you stay and enjoy our little community. So if there was any questions that they wanted to pop, to ask in the text chats, you can do that. If you can, because we know that you're very
definitely
awesome. Oh my goodness, this is truly, for me and for everyone here, it's truly an exciting, it's truly a memorable experience. Retro, did you have a question?
No, I was just saying it was quite the spectacle.
It is. Having someone so prolific here in the community just, grace us with their presence and their talent. And your overall charisma is just infectious, and I mean that in the most sincerest, kindest.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I'm very happy, and with FEX, we also feel obliged to give all this back to you and do the best we can to share the music and to work on it, because it was incredible what the community did for the song.
I know. I mean, I think the real hero here is Darius S. for having recorded it so many years back and then launched this just amazing search, and then reconnecting you with old friends and just feel inspired. Oh, you know, I personally think, because of all of the interviews that you had on NDR and some of the other radio stations upon the discovery of the song, I'd like to think that you're the face of the band, because you're quite charismatic. You're very happy to answer all and any questions that our community has, and it is truly an honor. Oh my gosh, I'm like trying not to tear up here because I got a chance to meet someone who's truly inspiring, just awe-inspiring. You know, 40 years is a really, really long time to have produced something and then revisit it years later and just become this huge internet phenomenon that a song would impact so many people's lives, and, you know, be a part of everyone's. I feel like, you know, I got to see this unfold, you know, when I learned about the mystery itself in 2019, and then following it off and on, and then getting a message from a friend last November saying it was found. I'm like, what? It was found? No. And then hearing the yellow cassette version of it, like, it sounds different, but this is more polished. And then just being a part of this just is absolutely, truly amazing. And
yes, and I also want to say thank you for having me in this and asking all the questions. I hope that I was able to answer them to the best I can.
Perfectly, sir.
A lot of things are, of course, a little bit vague in memory, but I think it was very good questions, and also very much musical related, which is very good. And
yes.
Yeah. So
we wanted to keep it about the band. We wanted to keep about your past projects, Fret Band, FEX, the Ilona song, Promise. I know that I forget the one that you had redone the synths for, but used the same sounds. And I think it's truly amazing that you have touched so many people's lives, I myself included. I'm trying not to be emotional here because, you know, there's a time and place for it. But this has been truly amazing, and it's not just a privilege, it's an honor, and an honor to have you be in our little neck of the woods on the internet, answering people's questions as they come, and then getting to hearing the new music as it comes later this year. I'm genuinely looking forward to everything that the band is working on, both old and new. All right, if there isn't any other further questions, I am going to wrap this up. For those who have attended...
I was curious about one thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, so I was curious. I know you did the Connect music, and I was wondering if you could kind of just explain a little bit of what exactly that is. I do also work in, I work for an engineering firm. Oops. Sorry, my headphone died. I don't know if you can hear me.
Go ahead and ask the questions. It was cutting out again.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Okay. So I was wondering, I guess it's a two-part question. What is ConnectSoft, and is there a chance that you would release those songs without the talking in them?
Well, ConnectSoft actually was my company that I created when I was working as a software engineer, and these were songs that I, of course, wrote for the technical videos that we did. I never thought of releasing them separately because they're more targeted for technical things, but it's a good remark. Maybe I need to revisit those.
Yeah, I would pay like $15 or $20 to have, an album of those. Thank you, Michael.
I think we'd all pay quite a bit to hear any of the music.
Because it's
Honestly,
all
yeah.
about the music. And as
really
host of this event, and I'm going to say this, and Michael is my witness as well. So, as host of this event and owner or host of this community as well, the Discord community, I'm going to make certain that if any new music is to be heard, that it is done in the most legal form possible. And that's because we want to be able to show as much support to you and the band for taking your time to entertain us with your music and your musical stylings. So that for sure I will be keep my word in regards to that. So we want to make sure that you and the other band members do get the support that you all deserve for working effortlessly. You just working so hard and exhaustively to make these things happen. So I'm saying that here because, the band FEX, if it wasn't for Darius, we wouldn't have the search. Had it not been for the search, we would not have this community. And if it wasn't for this community, we wouldn't have FEX. And we wouldn't be sitting here on stage talking to a very brilliant mind. So I will hold it hold the community up to it. The band deserves as much support as they possibly can. So if we find it on YouTube, on the official YouTube channel, we will share it. If we learn anything new about songs, it will go into the archive channel and we will show as much support. I know I bought my records and I will continue to do so until there's no more music left to share. But in all honesty, I hate being at a loss of words, especially with being here today, this afternoon here in the U.S. I'm here in the United States, and I know that it's just 9:30. I want to say 9 o'clock for you, Michael.
Yeah, it's 2030, so it is actually 8:30 p.m.
Excellent. Remember, Central European time, so they're based off of Munich, Germany, as is the outer edge. Are they going to be helping you release the new songs, or are you guys going to do that independently?
The new songs will be done independently. The old songs are focused on by the outer edge because they only are focusing on 80s style music. So the new songs will be released independently. Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. I was wondering about this for a while because they focus on lost content and stuff that's rare or obscure, such as the 80s content that you guys did. So it's so refreshing to know that while you are working with them on the older content, the newer content is going to be done independently, and I will certainly be supporting that every step of the way. So when the big announcement of whatever you call the next album for the new content drops, we will definitely be here. We will support it. We will share the music, albeit in the most legal form possible, but also so that we can support you and FEX and know that you guys are not a one-hit wonder. I think you guys are truly amazing. And I know that we had many, many questions, and it's really truly an honor to have you, sir. So with that being said, if there aren't any other further questions, we're going to wrap this one up so that Michael here can enjoy the rest of his Saturday evening. That being said, I'm going to share my screen here and show off my cover version for everyone to listen to as we wrap things up here today here in the FEX Fan Club. Again, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, Mr. Hädrich.
Thank you very much. And goodbye here from Munich. Good evening.
You have a wonderful evening, so we'll wrap things up here with my version of Subways of Your Mind. We hope you guys enjoy.
Hold on, Bard.
Michael.
Oh, what's going on?
I was gonna add because a lot of the people in the group have been saying we think just from all of us, we'd like to thank you, Michael, and we honestly love you and all the other band members from the bottom of our heart. Like, it's been a wild ride. So thank you so much.
And the train has not left the station. So with that, just to wrap things up, thank you once again, Mr. Hädrich. And for those who are in the audience and here in the stage with me, along with Mr. Hädrich, I bring to you my version of Subways of Your Mind as originally performed by FEX. We hope you enjoy.
Check it out, but